Explained is sponsored to you by Western Insulation.
And by next, I mean right now. Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Fraser. So let's go ahead and talk about dry lines. I've been talking about it over the last couple of days and how they've been impacting where storms form. So a dry line forms where dry air from the deserts meets warm and humid air flowing north from the Gulf. Okay, we're kind of in between. We're part in the desert, but we still get affected by a lot of that Gulf moisture. That dry line acts like a lifting mechanism, lifts a lot of that nice wet air, and when that wet air is forced upward, it can spark some of those thunderstorms. And in West Texas, we sit in between the desert air and the Gulf moisture, making it one of the most active dry line zones in the United States. Wow, okay. I'm gonna pull up a perfect example. Remember yesterday, I was talking about how a lot of those storms were gonna form right along the dry line? That's exactly what happened. So this was last night about 9:30. Once a lot of those storms kind of stopped forming, but you had a stark contrast between much of the Permian Basin. Dew points in those 30s versus dew points in those 50s and 60s just out there. So when there's dry air, storms can't really form. Storms need two things. They need heat, they need moisture. When you don't have both, you can't really get a whole lot of those impacts. But this even goes into our severe factor too. We're gonna start seeing a number of these storms form on the wet side of the dry line. This was the severe risk from last night. The avocado warning, yep, you guys know this one too well. San Angelo, Abilene, they were right in the middle of it because they had all the moisture in the atmosphere, while much of Midland, Odessa, Pecos, even out toward New Mexico, it was just a lot of dry air. So we didn't have that severe factor. Did have a couple of storms, absolutely, but it also determines what direction our winds are gonna be. So this was yesterday's outlook toward today. Westerly winds kind of kicked up in the early morning, and then the winds themselves, they stopped the second they hit the dry line. And on the other side of the dry line, the winds are going a completely different direction. So something so small that just separates dry air and wet air can actually determine what our weather pattern is going to be throughout severe weather season. So you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of these. Hopefully this helps explain it just a little bit better. Stephen.
Well,